Yo guys, what's up? So, this is a game between Magnus Carlsen and Dmitry Andreikin. Magnus Carlsen won this game and proceeded to win Title Tuesday. He absolutely destroyed with a score of 10 out of 11. He got 2 draws, he didn't lose a single game. And this is probably the best game out of the Title Tuesday. Here we go. My favorite comment in the last video is this one. Kramnik, what a piece of work. Drop a comment below. Magnus plays the Reti opening, which is knight f3 from the start. Black responds with g6 about to fianchetto the bishop. Magnus pushes for the center with e4. Just getting a nice pawn into the center. Early game stuff, controlling some squares. Black plays d6. This opening has transferred into the perk modern defense. Magnus pushes another pawn into the center, d4. Black doesn't fianchetto, but he brings his knight to f6 to attack this pawn. Pawn is looking a bit weak. Bishop defends, and now the pawn is looking okay again. This is very basic opening theory. Black then finally fianchettos. Nice one. Magnus castles. Black castles. Got a game on our hands. Let's go. Magnus plays rook e1. Black goes knight c6. Steel book theory. These guys know the first like 20 moves of like most openings if they're going to play it. And then the first move out of book theory, Magnus switches it up with d5. d5, what's d5 doing? Maybe over here and then attack this. Black actually goes over here, which is just attacking this bishop. And Magnus doesn't want to lose his bishop, so he retreats it all the way back to f1. You see this move a lot at the higher level. Quite a nice move, because now this pawn is like forever protected, and this diag is always watched. You just kick the pawn away, and then what's the knight doing? So Black tries to grab more of the center with e5. Magnus doesn't croissant, but instead he just tries to push the knight away. He asks this knight, what's the knight doing? Is it going to go back here? It can't. Is it going to go back here? Maybe that's a weakness. And it goes back. Now, white has a slight advantage. But not because of this. Because this bishop actually has a purpose now. And it's eyeing up some squares. So if you just took... It's not losing, but... Once black takes back, it's just a drawn position again. So to keep the advantage, Magnus plays b4. Ooh, someone told me today that if I want to get to 2,000... I'm almost 2,000. I'm 1,800. If I want to get to 2,000, pushing the b4 and the g4 pawns is the way. Now, I don't know if that's good advice or not. But Magnus is doing it. Knight h5, freeing up the f6 square and getting this knight out of there, so now the queen can maybe approach at one point. Maybe the knight wants to come here, but if it does go there, then the bishop takes, and then the pawns are getting stronger, so white probably doesn't want that. But white definitely wants strong pawns on the other side. Boom, c4. Oh, that's nice. Look at this pawn structure. Look at these pawns. They're so strong for white. Black does, in fact, go knight f4. Taking here is actually not a good move because you're giving away your bishop, and you don't really want to be taking this because after this, then this diag can always open. And then you kind of have to play like a move like this, and it's kind of a bit... Eee. So Magnus doesn't take that, surprisingly, giving away his bishop and opening up this. He just goes knight c3, just developing his knight. The knight was doing nothing. Maybe now this is an idea. Black then plays h6, just stopping the knight from jumping in potentially in the future. Maybe this move and this move was coming at one point. Magnus then preemptives this idea with this and this and plays rook a2. Wow. Imagine playing rook a2 in this position. Like, I feel like that's a super strong move that, like, I would never even consider. There's people watching this now like, how did you not see rook a2? g5 from black. The attack is Lumen. So Magnus plays bishop e3, which is just getting the bishop off his starting square. It's been there, it's done nothing. So maybe we can target some stuff. If the rook ever moves, this pawn has fallen. I mean, you never know what's going to happen with this, do you? Black plays bishop g4. Just pinning this knight, because I feel like the knight was maybe about to move in a second. And now he's just pinning it to make sure it doesn't move. Magnus plays h3. Sacking here doesn't work at all, because obviously he's still got this bishop. So the bishop naturally goes back, and the threat's over. Hold on, c5. Oh, the threat is just beginning. Here we go. These pawns are super strong. Black's pawns have not moved at all. White's pawns. Ooh, we got like a lovely formation here. This knight is completely dead in the corner. So black chooses a good move and just moves it out, rerouting it. Maybe we can now start pushing these pawns and bringing the knight back out this way. When a piece is doing nothing, you kind of want to bring it into the game. So like this rook, this knight, it's doing nothing. Look at white's position. So many active pieces. So black sees that they have very little activity, so they're trying to create some. Magnus plays rook c2, just aligning with this sort of idea that he has here of maybe taking, maybe bringing the knight in. And with a rook on this file, the queen's obstructed. But black doesn't care, and he just plays f5. f5? F off, bruv. Point is, if he takes, then obviously this isn't as good for white. Now the rook's a bit awkward. Magnus doesn't take that pawn, surprisingly. But he takes the knight, because now it's worth taking the knight, because these pawns are going to be flooding through at one point. So he should have taken with that pawn, but he didn't. He took with this pawn. And now taking with this pawn kind of allows what Magnus's plan was in the first place. And he plays e5. The point of e5 is to just open up the position. If he takes, then Magnus is taken back, and this is what happens in the game. And then you don't really want to be taking this, because now white's attack is super strong. Look at this. Look at all the pieces on the attack. This is getting in the game. So it goes e5, takes, and then rook e8. Rook e8's kind of a nice little in-between move because now you're threatening this twice. So Magnus then plays rook e2. This rook has gone on a journey. It went a2, it went c2, now it's gone e2. This rook is having a fantastic time. Black leaves the tension on the knight on e5 and plays a5, trying to chip away at this pawn structure. And now Magnus has a decision. He can either push or he can take. Or he can just leave it and then take back. So what he does is he goes d6. Look at these pawns. Look at these pawns. They're so advanced on the board, and black's pawns are just like dead. Like double pawns over here. Pawns haven't moved over here. White's pawns are just storming. Black takes the pawn and Magnus checks. That's such a lovely in-between move. You don't want to just take back because then that loses advantage. Because now the king's forced to move. And if he goes here, obviously like he's getting queen forks, so he's not going to do that. And if he just blocks with the bishop, then you just play c4. And that's such a dirty move, because if you take, obviously you win the queen back straight away. And then when he goes here, you could play this move. Look at that. And then that's a check, and then the king's forced to a square, and then you just recapture this. That would have been so lovely if that happened. But that didn't happen. So he checks, and then black moves his king, but he goes to h7 instead, because obviously he can't go here. White recaptures the bishop, threatening to maybe win this rook if he played a pooling move like that. In between move, takes the rook, which is the best move. So white has to take the rook. No, he does not. He checks. Look at that. Another in-between move. People always ask, how do I get higher level at chess? In-between moves. This is what makes someone so good at chess. Spotting these tactics. King's forced to go back. Magnus recaptures the rook on e2. Black recaptures the knight, offering a queen trade. Magnus does not... Look at this position for white. Would you accept a queen trade? You do not want a queen trade. Rook e6. Boom. That's a nice, tasty, delicious move. Doesn't want the queen trade, and there's no way to double attack this rook, so it's completely safe for now. And you know why that's a crazy move? Because he literally just hangs a knight. But if he does hang the knight, then he's getting mated. That's crazy. Black instead takes the pawn on b4. Magnus recaptured. No, he does not. No, he does not. He threatens checkmate. Black has to defend this. There's no time to take this knight. The only real move to prevent mate is king g8. Now if he goes here, he can escape. And then Magnus plays just another bonkers move. And this one, can you spot the brilliant move? I will give you 5 seconds. Analyze the position. Scanning. Queen d5. Brilliant, bro. Why is it a brilliant move? Because there's a discovery. This piece is still hanging. If he ends up taking this, it's a forced mate in 3 because rook check. Isn't he just blood? Double check. King's only move. Squano. Mate. Nice. If he does pretty much anything here, he's completely lost. And black just goes king h8. And then Magnus takes the pawn. In this position, just going for the mate idea again is the best move. Magnus takes the pawn, which isn't the worst move, but black plays queen e7, and now this is kind of a poor move because it allows rook check. Only surviving move is this, otherwise he's kind of losing his queen because he can't do anything else. He has to sack something, so he goes there. Magnus plays queen f5. I don't know why that's a mistake, because if this takes, it's mate. If the queen tries to block at all, then you can still take this. Like, black's best move here is just knight c6. Just giving up a full rook. Like, what? Anybody playing knight c6 in this position? Black just resigns. Magnus wins Title Tuesday for a 22nd time. But not as many as Hikaru. Hikaru has won it 78 times, so that's kind of bonkers. But Magnus hasn't always played them, and Hikaru plays every single week. So who would have won more? I don't know. Looking at the accuracy for that game, Magnus played 86.9 with a brilliant move. And Andreikin played 74%. I mean, not a weak game. It says they both played like Magnus played a 3,000, he played 26. But you know. And that's the video, guys. Drop a like, have a good day. See you later. Bye.